I did something recently that made producers really upset. And this thing I did ended up getting me over 36 beat sales in just a couple days. Seriously, a whole lot of beat sales. In terms of selling beats online, I really feel like there are a couple really important keys, but there are only a couple of them. One of them I'm going to give away today. It falls under the customer appreciation umbrella, and it has to do with flash sales, bulk deals, that kind of thing. Now, customer appreciation is incredibly important. Customer service is incredibly important. The whole customer experience is incredibly important. So to the people asking me when my beat selling course is coming out, I'm working on it, but the foundation of it is going to be customer appreciation, retaining customers, creating repeat customers, because that can honestly save your life and sustain your business. Now, there are a few ways to do this. A lot of it is stuff that producers don't want to do. Bulk deals, flash sales, giving away free beats in exchange for an email address. Joe Gautry spoke on this when he was talking about how he made his first $1,000 leasing beats online. And I'm glad he emphasized this, and specifically the free tagged MP3 download in exchange for an email address technique, because that's something that I see a ton of people not doing. Now, all of these suggestions, not only do they fall under the customer appreciation umbrella, but they rely on you communicating consistently with customers, with potential customers. Communication is key. I see so many people talking about selling beats, so many videos about how to sell beats. Jump into this rapper's DM and sell them this beat. Send this email, sell these people this beat. Run this ad, sell these beats. They do not talk about repeat customers. They don't talk about building long-lasting relationships with recording artists who will come back again and again to work with you. Some of the customer appreciation techniques I use, in addition to just giving away the free tagged MP3 downloads in exchange for an email, is this is something I didn't want to do, but I heard some other producers talking about this, and I implemented it. So if you've purchased beats from me in the past, you will get an email from me periodically with a free untagged MP3 license. People do appreciate that, and it keeps them subscribed, and it keeps the conversation going, and it lets them know that I do appreciate them for being subscribed to my email list and being customers. Now, why are producers mad at me? What did I do? Producers are upset with me for posting gym selfies. And because last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I ran a crazy bulk deal. Buy one beat, get 6 beats free. Now, recording artists really appreciated this. I got a lot of great comments, just off this Facebook post alone. This guy, for example, shout out to G Life, he had the idea of creating an entire EP by utilizing this bulk deal. 7 beats, that's enough for an EP. And when stuff like this happens, this is great for me because it's co-branding. I'm co-branding with this rapper, but not everybody appreciated it. Shit, man, 6 for 1, beat making is dead for real. Beat making is dead, all because of me. All due respect, this is exactly the type of shit that dilutes your brand. You're DJ Pain 1, not one of those newbie producers. Not everyone deserves to rap on a DJ Pain 1 beat, and that is where I believe you messed up, letting every fuckboy and trap bubblegum rapper be able to even buy your beats. That's a little mean. I think this comment does come from a place of concern for me. Alien Groover brought some perspective to the conversation, so I appreciate that. Shout out to him for that. I used to feel the same way. I wasn't balanced. I was very emotional when it came to my music, and I felt like I deserved a ton of money for my music all the time. I wasn't going to ever make exceptions. Being emotional is an asset when it comes to making music. You want to be able to put your emotions into the music, convey that emotion so that your music resonates with the listener. That's all good. And I don't think business, because a lot of people will say, well, business isn't about feelings. It's business, never personal. Business is intensely personal and intensely emotional. I'm not saying be this emotionless thing when it comes to business. Be this ruthless, emotionally dead, concrete version of a human when it comes to doing business. Don't do that. I think it's about balance, though, about disciplining your emotions. I mean, running a business takes an immense amount of discipline. It's not just disciplining yourself to wake up every day and sit down in front of the DAW and then sit down at a desk and reading Donald Passman's book, or sitting down and learning about SEO. It's also about having the discipline to control your emotions and to keep your emotional self in check. Because if you let your emotional self run free 100% of the time, there's the potential of you just becoming a toddler throwing a tantrum 1 second and then being at peace the next second and then going right back to throwing a juice box across the room at a childcare provider's face. It's good to have emotions, but it's also good to check your emotions by understanding opportunities, understanding perspective, understanding the best practices and the right methodology running your business. Now, I think what unfortunately happens to producers is that we go all in with the emotion, and we're more inclined to go onto a forum or social media and get advice on our business from other producers who don't know shit than we are to just go to a website about best practices as far as running a small business is concerned. We are running small businesses as producers. We're not just these purely emotional beings making music and throwing it out there into the universe. Running a business has a lot of structure, it has a lot of intention, it has best practices, it has long established methodologies and techniques. One of the biggest things, again, it goes back to appreciating your customers. Listen, producers, if you're not putting yourselves in the shoes of your potential customers, the people who are spending their hard-earned money to support your dream life of making music for a living, paying your bills, doing the most amazing thing you could think of doing, then you're basing your business entirely on your own selfish needs and not on theirs, and you are not addressing their needs. So why would they work with you? Why would they spend their money with you? Now, if that's what you want to do, that's your right. I've reviewed on this very channel other producers' beat stores, and I've seen other producers charging $100 for an MP3 lease, $2,000 for an exclusive. They don't really have the resumes or the followings to demand those kinds of prices, and I think they're frustrated. I don't think this is working for them, but that's their right. A lot of producers have this notion in their heads that they're going to be Gucci, not Target. If you look at the top beat sellers, and I'm not saying it's always about the money. If you just want to make music that sits on a hard drive, that's your right. If you want to have a beat store where none of the beats move, that's your right too. But the top sellers aren't using these luxury brand pricing models. I mean, if it's about pride and not wanting to take a loss on a single dollar, you're sabotaging yourself. Look at Dilly. He's one of the few who are forthcoming about having made $1 million off of beat leasing, and he uses the default BeatStars pricing model basically. Now, my entry into the music business was getting $4,000 as an advance on a beat I sold to a major label. That album went platinum. Since then, I was getting $5,000, $10,000, up to $30,000 a track. My first placement happened in 2008. BeatStars was established in 2008. Tight beats and beat leasing had been long established before then. I trace it back to probably 2001, actually. That didn't stop me from getting 5-figure checks. I'm still getting 5-figure checks off mechanicals, off of placements, publishing royalties. Before I got into beat leasing, I thought these cheap beat leases devalued production. I thought they were going to destroy beat making. Just like that comment said, beat making is dead for real and your brand is devalued. That's what I honestly thought. And it doesn't. I got placements last year. The prices didn't go down, and I'm still running bulk deals on my beat store. Here's the thing. Beat leasing is affordable to unsigned DIY artists. They don't have label budgets. Major labels have billions of dollars. A 20-year-old aspiring rapper might have $500 in their bank account right now. You want $10,000 out of them for a beat? You want $2,000 out of them for a beat? You want $100 out of them for an MP3 lease? So rather than just talk at you about this stuff, I want to share an exercise that really helped me. It's something that Mike Trampy taught me when I first started getting into beat leasing, and virtually no producer does this. And it's an exercise called customer avatars. Digitalmarketer.com has a worksheet for it. I'm not endorsing them as a site or their worksheet in particular. There are a lot of places online that you can find a customer avatar worksheet. But again, I want to emphasize that customer service, customer support, creating return customers, giving customers the best possible experience, this is all key. Businesses don't survive off of single transactions. You want repeat customers. And if you can't answer the question of who your average customer is and how you're providing value to them, this exercise is going to help. It's going to make it clear how you're going to write your emails, how you're going to run your ads, what kind of prices you're going to set for yourself. You could have the greatest product on earth, but if you're trying to sell it to the wrong person, you're never going to hit your sales numbers. That's what I believe a producer who's selling $100 MP3 leases is doing. If your average customer is someone who's making 6 figures a year, okay, cool, but my online customers aren't millionaires. Most aren't, at least. I have had, I'll say one name. Mano did lease some beats for me, and I believe he's worth at least $1 million. I don't know for sure. I just Google it. But the vast majority are just regular people with regular jobs trying to support their musical journey. The same way a lot of us producers started out. We were just working regular jobs to build up our studios, buy our keyboards and our DAWs. And come on, FL Studio doesn't cost $5,000. It doesn't cost $2,000. A high-end PC doesn't cost $10,000. A keyboard's like $200. Come on. We'd hate to be charged unreasonable amounts for what we use. Why are we going to turn around and do that to recording artists? So in a nutshell, the customer avatar exercise involves you inventing four average customers, the people that you're targeting. And a lot of this just comes from you brainstorming, and it's not going to be perfect. You can revise this as time goes on, but also, and this is why it's important to have these social media business accounts. Like if you have an Instagram business account, you have better analytics. Same with YouTube. You can look at who's viewing your content and it'll tell you the gender, the location, the age, and you can determine what their needs are based on their age. You know, like if your average social media visitor is in their early 20s, they're probably not making six figures. So you can imagine that your pricing structure should make sense and be appropriate for that demographic. Once you figure out who your customers are, you can figure out all of these things. Content marketing, what kind of ads you're going to run, where if all your customers are in the United States, run your ads to the United States. Copywriting and email marketing, these are connected. If all of your customers are in their 40s, for example, you might use different language than you would if they were in their early 20s. And once you identify who your customers are, you can better understand and meet their needs. So if they're all recording artists, I know a lot of producers do this, they'll send out emails that simply provide value to the recording artist. Beat Demon spoke on this. They talked about sending out emails to their customers every now and again, talking about ways that they could monetize their music. Not trying to sell them beats, just saying, hey, here's how you sign up to a PRO. Here's how you collect this kind of royalty for your songs. That's the kind of stuff that people will appreciate, but you can't offer that value without knowing what that value is and what your customers need. And once you're able to provide that value, once you're able to determine what your customers need, you can convert a person who would have just purchased one beat and then you never communicate again into a repeat customer. I love having repeat customers. If someone keeps buying beats from me, that accomplishes two things as far as I'm concerned. One, their music is more cohesive because I feel like that's a lost art, making a lot of music with just a handful of producers. And two, it sustains my business. Both beautiful things. Having repeat customers will save your life. You're not having to reinvent the wheel every time. You're not relying on just DMing randoms and hoping that they sell a beat and then moving on to the next one. That takes a lot of energy. Relationships matter in life in general, but when it comes to running a business, relationships with customers, giving customers the best experience possible so they keep coming back, that kind of thing, invaluable. So hopefully that helps. Appreciate you watching, and my sincere apologies for completely killing beat making. I feel kind of bad about that.